the realization that the Autogyro is the last type of aircraft that has never been around the world. First Autogyro flew in 1923, which was only 20 years after the Wright brothers, and yet for all that time, none of them have been around the world. On a more personal note, I had bowel cancer in 2003, and I've learned how to fly an Autogyro since that treatment. And so hopefully sending out a message for people that are maybe find themselves in that position now. You never know, in a few years' time you might be flying around the world. It's basically a standard machine. It's built in 2006. It's been modified slightly. It was a 450 kilo maximum takeoff weight. That's now been up to 500 kilos to allow it to take extra fuel in the rear seat. Everywhere you go with it, it's so novel and so unique. A lot of countries have never seen an Autogyro. You're going into international airports where you're lining up next to a jumbo 747 and it's just tiny. There's been some quite notable adventures. I had to land out on a road in Saudi Arabia in the desert. There's a large thunderstorm cell about 70 miles from Riyadh, which is where I was heading for. It was diverting large jets you could hear on the radio. And so I elected then to go back to my alternate airfield. But when I turned to head back, lo and behold, there's another thunderstorm cell behind me. And as luck would have it, a desert road, fairly empty. You could look 5 miles either way to see there was no traffic. And they had a petrol station. And so I pretty much landed on the road, taxied in. I then had a bizarre evening waiting with two Arabs who were running the petrol station, who could speak no English and I could speak no Arabic. So we had to use sign language the whole evening. And in the morning, I was able to push the gyro up to the petrol pumps. And so I was able to fill up the fuel and take off on the road and continued my flight plan. Really, it was a combination of factors. The air temperature here was very high. I was very heavy with fuel. The other factor really was a variable crosswind, and I think that's probably where the problems arose. On the takeoff roll, the wind has veered around, and so now I'm not really achieving the climb out we really need. And at that point, to avoid obstacles ahead, the only option was to turn off to the left, and that was over a shallow lake. So really, it was a controlled force landing. The aircraft went over on its nose and landed then upside down in the water. The rotor mast was the main casualty. It got sort of bent a bit. We were able to recover it. It wasn't in the water too long. We had the engine running within 2 hours, and it should be repairable, that we can then fly on and continue on the journey. In terms of the record, about a month behind my schedule, and hopefully, I mean, this temporary hiccup is an adventure in its own